Hi, my name's Rob Fox. I'm a volunteer for Warriors in Quiet Waters. I am 55 years old, live in Bozeman, Montana. Married for 30 years to Christy, who's also a volunteer, and the father to 2 boys. I got involved with Warriors in Quiet Waters. I'd heard about it through the Sunrise Rotary in Bozeman. Ted Campbell is a member. He talked to me about it before. And one of my wife's friends who curls with her in our local curling league started talking to me about fly fishing and Warriors in Quiet Waters and it being a very meaningful experience. Her story was just fascinating, and the next morning Christy and I signed up to be volunteers. Been involved with Warriors in Quiet Waters a couple of years now. Stuffed envelopes once, another time helped put together packets for the fishermen, the Sims fishing boxes, but the best part by far is I've had the fortune to be on 3 fishing experiences. One in the summer based out of a beautiful Quiet Waters ranch in Belgrade, Montana, and the other 2 in far northern Montana on Nelson's Reservoir, where we did ice fishing. And the colder it is and the worse the weather is, the more fun we have when we're ice fishing. It's just embracing the suck, and it's the warrior attitude. I wanted to serve when I was younger. I was expected to go to college. I wanted to be a Marine, met with a recruiter. My parents didn't know. And then what I had forgotten to tell the recruiter was I had epilepsy. So when they saw my medical records, he was a little bit upset because I hadn't told him the truth. And I always wanted to serve. My father was a sergeant in the Army. My grandfather was a sergeant in the Army. I feel very strong about being a patriot. I always looked to give back. In the past, it was writing a check or raising money, but there was no personal connection. I strived for a personal connection where I be there with them in person, get to know them, try to empathize with what they've been through, not necessarily understand it. I cannot understand what they have been through. Let them know that a civilian who couldn't serve, we care about them, we love them, we respect them, we're thankful for what they've done. So my business, I'm a wealth manager with Morgan Stanley. I've done it for 34 years. That's all I've ever done. I have to be able to communicate with my clients, and the number one thing I have to do is earn their trust. It doesn't matter how much money I make them. If they think I'm cheating, lying, telling their story to somebody else, they will never do business with me. And your reputation is all you have. And so with the Warriors at the ranch, they know it's a safe place. They can tell their story as little or as much as they want. No one's ever going to ask them, why are they there? How'd they get injured? What's the worst thing that happened to you? That's never going to happen. If it does, it's from another warrior, and it's in private most likely. They can share what they want. They could be goofy, silly, act like they're back in barracks. And they do that, shenanigans they call it. And I can't say those here on camera, but it was fun and funny. I enjoyed it. They do have colorful language, and I learned new terms. But the thing is, they thanked us for allowing them to be themselves. The one guy from Texas said he hadn't had that much fun and talked that openly since he stopped his service in 2008. So 12 years. And he told me when we left that his face actually hurt because he smiled and laughed so much. He hadn't done that. He hadn't shared those stories. He hadn't talked like that, he said, since he left the service, and nobody back home knows what we learned in just a few days. And I'll never tell that story to anybody but him. And it's safe, and all the other warriors make sure it's safe. I travel a lot for my job. I'm in airports. If I see a soldier, I'll say, thank you for your service. And the reaction is different. And so the one gentleman from Fort Bragg who's still serving Special Forces, I said, do you want us to say thank you for your service? And he said, well, yeah, we like that. I said, well, the reactions I get are very mixed. He said, well, we don't know what to say. He said, it's difficult when someone thanks you for something they've never seen you do and they don't know what you do. And the funny thing is that came around 180 degrees on me as our team leader approached me privately last week and thanked me and said a lot of kind things for what I was doing, because I consider myself the grunt on the team. And he thanked me, and I didn't know how to take it. And then a couple of the guys thanked me, said, thank you for being a great American, thank you for being a good person, thank you for caring about us. It was tough to react. I didn't know what to say other than, well, yeah, this is what I should be doing. And they said, well, that's how we feel too. I love cars and fast cars and fixing cars and making cars better, and I have passed that addiction on to my 2 sons. So we have a barn here. I put a car lift in, a workbench, toolboxes, welder, big air compressor. So we work on cars and tinker out there. I can go out in that barn on a nice day, open all the doors, have views of 2 mountain ranges, breeze coming across, and just literally rearrange my toolbox for 2 or 3 hours, not pay attention to my phone, not listen to music. We're working on an old cop car right now. We're gonna make it really fast. If you didn't know anything about the hobby, be it fly fishing or working on cars, a person would come and look at it and say, why in the world do you have all of this stuff? The reality of it is I probably use 10 flies all the time, and I have 10 rods and I use 1 or 2 of them. And out in the barn, I have 2 toolboxes stuffed and a workbench stuffed with tools and things. And I probably use 10 or 20 of the tools 50% of the time, but I know I have it. And that's like when I remember fly fishing once and these little purple flies were hitting, and I had a few purple flies buried in the bottom of my bag, and I used them, and I caught 10 fish in an hour, and I haven't used them since in 12 years. Warriors in Quiet Waters, it's hard to describe it. It's one of those, you had to see it, you have to be there, you have to experience it. They do everything well. Nothing is done half-assed. And they're gonna do everything at the gold standard going forward, or they're not gonna do it. You know, they wanna be a foot wide and a mile deep, teaching warriors how to fish. And I'm saying that from a biased perspective, but the warriors say it is. And that's why I believe it, because the warriors say, they do it well. We don't ask anything of the warriors. They don't have to sit around in a circle and talk about their feelings. They share what they want to share. They don't share. They just want to fish and shut up, then that's what we do. If I can work with a local organization 30 minutes from my house that touches people on a national basis, has a fantastic reputation, I get to interact directly with the warriors, which I had never done and was nervous about before I did it, do that and fly fish. I mean, fly fishing is the least important part of it. It is number 20 out of 20 for me. I can go fly fishing anytime, but being in the boat with a warrior, watching a warrior catch his first fish on a fly with a great guide on the Yellowstone or the Madison or some world-class river they never thought they'd be on, and it doesn't cost them a penny, and they're with people that care about them and love them and are going to take care of them and make sure they're successful as possible. Doing that, combining those together, it was just like the perfect recipe, and I would do it 10 times a year if I could.